22 best-selling video games of each year, 2000 to 2021. Video games have evolved significantly in the past 2 decades alone, but of all the amazing games that we came across, which ones are the absolute best? Welcome to Binge TV. Today we've picked top 22 best-selling video games of each year from 2000 up till 2021. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn notifications on for more videos like this one. Let's begin the video. Number 22, 2000, Diablo 2. Diablo 2 is a perfect 21st century start for video games as an action role-playing hack and slash with dark fantasy and horror elements carried forward from 1996's Diablo. The player takes control of a new hero who must stop Diablo's return from wreaking havoc. The game's 5 acts offer a diverse range of locales and situations to explore and combat in, as well as a larger cast of people to play as and interact with. It was listed in the Guinness Book of World Records 2000 edition as the fastest-selling computer game of all time, selling over 1 million copies in its first week. Number 21, 2001, Halo Combat Evolved. Halo Combat Evolved was originally published as a launch game for Microsoft's Xbox. The game is a first-person shooter that allows users to play in a 3D environment nearly exclusively from a first-person perspective. The player assumes the character of the Master Chief, a cyborg super soldier in Halo, which is set in the 26th century. Players fight aliens while trying to discover the secrets of Halo, a ring-shaped artificial planet. By July 2003, the game had sold 3 million copies globally and 4 million by January 2004. The game went on to act as the foundation for the Halo series that we are all very familiar with today, so it is easy to understand why it was the best thing to come out that year. Number 20, 2002, GTA Vice City. For 2002, the game that comes up is probably one we all played at some point in our lives. Although Rockstar's GTA franchise had already been busy enjoying vast popularity, Vice City really leveled things up. In case you still do not know, GTA Vice City is an action-packed adventure that players live through from the third-person perspective. Tommy Vercetti is entangled in a sabotaged drug deal that makes him indebted to his boss, Sonny. Now, Tommy must run errands and progress through the storyline with the constant fear of Sonny coming out to get him. Rated PG-13, Vice City really brought the GTA franchise to new heights and sold 500,000 copies the very first day, amassing millions for Rockstar over the years. Number 19, 2003, Need for Speed Underground. You probably at least heard about this one too if you didn't get a chance to play. Need for Speed Underground is the 7th edition in the Need for Speed series and was released in 2003. Underground relaunched the series, rejecting earlier Need for Speed games that focused on sports vehicles and exotics. It was the first game in the series to have both a narrative mode and a garage mode in which players could fully customize their vehicles with a wide range of brand-name performance and cosmetic enhancements. All of the races take place at night in a fictional settlement named Olympic City. The game featured a variety of racing modes including circuits, sprints, drag racing, knockout mods, and drifting challenges. The game was, unsurprisingly, a huge success, having sold 15 million units over its lifetime. Number 18, 2004, Half-Life 2. Valve created Half-Life 2, a first-person shooting game as the sequel to Half-Life, which was released in 1998, and the second game in the Half-Life series. Half-Life 2 follows Gordon Freeman as he joins a resistance organization to free the Earth from the dominion of an alien civilization known as the Combine about 20 years after the events of the previous game. It uses the same concepts as Half-Life, such as health and weapon systems and periodic physics challenges, but with a newer source engine and better visuals. However, the player begins with no equipment and gradually builds up their arsenal throughout the duration of the game. A super success, the game had sold 12 million copies by 2011. Number 17, 2005, God of War. Most of us would probably be familiar with the God of War franchise. This is the first game in the same named series and the third chronologically, having been published on March 22, 2005 for the PlayStation 2. It is set in ancient Greece and has retribution as its core theme, largely based on Greek mythology. The player takes control of a Spartan warrior by the name of Kratos. Kratos is tasked by the goddess Athena with assassinating Ares, the god of war, and Kratos' old master, who duped Kratos into murdering his wife and daughter. Combo-based fighting is the emphasis of the game, which is achieved using the player's primary weapon. Quick-time events demand the player to perform multiple game controller activities in a timed sequence in order to fight tougher foes as the game evolves. God of War is one of the best-selling PlayStation 2 games of all time, having sold over 4.6 million copies worldwide. Number 16, 2006, Gears of War. Gears of War is a third-person shooter that allows players to choose from a variety of weapons and employ a mix of shoot-and-cover tactics. It is the first game in the Gears of War franchise. It was released in 2006 as an exclusive title for the Xbox 360 by Microsoft Game Studio. The primary plot of the game, which may be played solo or cooperatively, revolves around a team of soldiers who aid in the completion of a desperate, final attempt to finish a battle against a genocidal underground army known as the Locust and preserve a fictional planet, Syrah's last human residence. The franchise lived on, and that, coupled with almost 6 million sold copies, should be enough to justify this game's presence on the list. Number 15, 2007, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The fourth main installment in the Call of Duty series was Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. The game shifts away from previous games' World War II settings and instead takes place in present times. The plot starts from 2011 when a radical rebel assassinates the president of an unidentified Middle Eastern country, and an ultranationalist movement in Russia sparks a civil war. The battles are placed in diverse locations, from Europe to the Middle East, and are witnessed through the eyes of a U.S. Marine Force recon sergeant and a British SAS commando. The game carried forward the uncompromised, high-quality COD gameplay dynamics and introduced enhanced multiplayer options. It was a huge success and remains among the all-time COD favorites, with over 13 million copies sold. Number 14, 2008, GTA 4. Grand Theft Auto 4 is the sixth main installment in the Grand Theft Auto series and the 11th overall after 2004's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. It transports gamers back to Liberty City once more. Niko Bellic, an Eastern European war veteran, tries to flee his history while being pursued by high-profile gangsters. Players may freely traverse Liberty City, which is made up of 3 major islands, and the neighboring state of Alderney, which is modeled on New Jersey thanks to the open world concept. You get the same no-rules, explore your imagination type of free roam access with better graphics, more realistic gameplay physics, and more detailed human interactions. Grand Theft Auto 4 sold over 3.6 million copies in the first 24 hours of its release, and has since sold over 25 million copies, making it one of the best-selling video games of all time for both PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Number 13, 2009, Uncharted 2. A sequel to the original Uncharted, Uncharted 2 Among Thieves is a 2009 action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog and released by Sony. The single-player adventure follows Nathan Drake, who teams up with Chloe Fraser and Alina Fisher to seek the Sintamani Stone and the city of Shambhala 2 years after the events of Drake's fortune, while confronting a mercenary gang led by war criminal Zoran Lazarevi. Multiplayer is available in both competitive and cooperative modes, which really sets it apart from the original game. With almost 537,000 units sold in October 2009, Uncharted 2 was the best-selling game in the United States for the month. In all, over 6.5 million copies were sold. Number 12, 2010, Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption is the second game in the Red Dead series and is a spiritual successor to 2004's Red Dead Revolver. It follows John Marston, a former bandit whose wife and son are kidnapped by the government in exchange for his services as a hired shooter amid the demise of the American frontier in 1911. Marston feels compelled to bring 3 members of his previous gang to justice since he has no other option. The game is played in third person, and the player is free to traverse the game's interactive open world, which is a fictionalized representation of the western United States and northern Mexico, largely on horseback and on foot. Reclaim justice the cowboy way by blazing your way through gunfights. Number 11. 2011, The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim. Bethesda Game Studios and Bethesda Softworks released The Elder Scrolls V: Skyrim, an open-world action role-playing video game as a follow-up of 2006's The Elder Scrolls IV: Oblivion. It is the 5th main installment in the Elder Scrolls series. The game takes place in Skyrim, Tamriel's northernmost region, 200 years after the events of Oblivion. Its primary plot follows the player's character, the Dragonborn, on a mission to battle Alduin the Planet Eater, a dragon who is tasked with destroying the world according to legend. The player progresses through the game by completing objectives and upgrading their character's talents. Honestly, there's too much detail to the game than just this, but let's just leave it at over 30 million sold copies so far. Number 10. 2012, Call of Duty Black Ops 2. The 9th installment in the Call of Duty video game series, Black Ops 2, is a sequel to Call of Duty Black Ops from 2010. The campaign of the game is set in the late 1980s and 2025, and it continues the tale of Black Ops. In the 1980s, the player takes control of Alex Mason and Frank Woods, 2 of Black Ops' heroes, while in 2025, the player takes control of Mason's son, David, all of whom are on the hunt for cartel boss Raul Mendez. Players' actions and decisions can lead to one of many possible final outcomes. A huge success, the game sold over 7.5 million copies. Number 9. 2013, GTA 5. You definitely know this one. Following 2008's Grand Theft Auto 4, GTA 5 is the 7th main entry in the Grand Theft Auto series and the 15th overall. The plot revolves around 3 protagonists: Michael DeSanta, a former band robber, street thug Franklin Clinton, and narcotics dealer Trevor Phillips. The story is based on their attempts to pull out heists while being pursued by a corrupt government agency and powerful gangsters. Players may freely wander San Andreas' wide countryside and the fictitious metropolis of Los Santos and enjoy a multitude of open-world functions, including access to a parody of the internet. So far, the game has sold over 155 million copies. Number 8. 2014, Dragon Age Inquisition. Dragon Age Inquisition is the 3rd main game in the Dragon Age trilogy and was released in 2014. The tale follows the Inquisitor, a player character on a quest to put an end to civil strife on Thetis' continent and plug a strange hole in the sky known as the Breach, which is releasing terrifying demons into the world. From a third-person perspective, players control the Inquisitor or their companions. The game was published on Windows, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, and Xbox One in November 2014. The game has sold over 7 million copies so far and was among the UK's top trending for the year. Number 7. 2015, The Witcher Wild Hunt. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is an action role-playing game that is the 3rd and final installment in the Witcher video game series. It is a sequel to The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings, which was released in 2011. The game is set in a fantastical setting inspired by Slavic mythology. Players take control of Geralt of Rivia, a hired monster slayer known as a Witcher, as he searches for his adoptive daughter who is fleeing the unearthly Wild Hunt. Players use weapons and magic to fight the game's various enemies, engage with NPCs, and complete tasks to earn experience points and gold, which can be spent to improve Geralt's powers and buy new gear. So far, 30 million copies sold have been recorded. Number 6. 2016, Titanfall 2. Titanfall 2 is a first-person shooter video game that is a sequel to Titanfall, which was released in 2014. Titans, a robot-like machine, and their pilots are controlled by the players, offering a unique version of melee and distanced combat. The single-player narrative is set in a science fiction environment and tells the tale of Jack Cooper, a frontier militia rifleman who gets attached to his mentor's Titan after the former is killed. They set out on a mission to prevent the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation from launching a superweapon that may destroy the militia planet Harmony. The game has sold more than 4 million copies so far. Number 5. 2017 PUBG. Yes, people, 2017 is when it started. You really do not need to know much more about this one, huh? PUBG is an online multiplayer battle royale game that your pre-teen younger brother is now probably engrossed in. Although the playing audience has changed, the game is still pretty exceptional given how well it executed the concept. The motive's pretty simple: survive. Either you kill or you get killed by other players. The last one standing wins. The game is insanely popular and is unarguably the best game to come out of 2017. Number 4. 2018 Red Dead Redemption 2. Coming out in 2018, Red Dead Redemption 2 is actually a prequel to 2010's Red Dead Redemption. The plot starts in 1899 and follows bandit Arthur Morgan, a member of the Vanderlyn gang, across a fictitious version of the Western, Midwestern, and Southern United States. Arthur must contend with the Wild West's fall while fighting to survive against government authorities, competing gangs, and other foes. The epilogue of Red Dead Redemption follows fellow gang member John Marston, the game's protagonist. Amazing story, enhanced gameplay, the game is an utter beauty. No wonder it sold over 24 million copies just a couple of years in. Number 3. 2019 Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. From Software's Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice is a 2019 action-adventure game published by Activision. The game follows Wolf, a shinobi, which is a Japanese mercenary who seeks vengeance on a samurai clan who assaulted him and abducted his lord. As is understandable, stealth plays a major part in the game, which has the thematic of assassin-like action serving as its backbone. There are plenty of interactive role-playing elements in this third-person view game, and some pretty cool melee attacks. The game managed to sell over 5 million copies within a year, and is inarguably one of the best games released in 2019. Number 2. 2020 Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch Productions' Ghost of Tsushima is a third-person action-adventure game published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. The player takes control of Jin Sakai, a samurai on a mission to preserve Tsushima Island during the first Mongol invasion of Japan in an open-world game. On July 17, 2020, the PlayStation 4 version of the game was published. On horseback, players can go to various regions of the island. Side missions and non-playable individuals are included in the game, and the player can interact with them. The graphics are absolutely insane. The game has sold 8 million copies in such a short time already. Before we get to the number 1 spot on our list, here's a look at some honorable mentions.
Gotham. This is your only warning.
City's overrun. We don't stand a chance.
Prepare to attack. That bow's a little big for you, isn't it?
My mother made it for me. Said I'd grow into it.
Number 1. 2021 Resident Evil Village. A 2021 survival horror game, Resident Evil Village is the sequel to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard and the latest in the Resident Evil franchise. After a disastrous meeting with Chris Redfield, players control Ethan Winters, who is hunting for his abducted daughter and finds himself in a community full of mutant animals. It takes place in a cold Eastern European town with Victorian-style culture. The game has been making rounds on the internet and is one of the most significant releases for 2021. The first-person shooter perspective is the same, although the gameplay has had many added features, making it more interactive. Despite being released in May, the game had already sold 5 million copies by October. So what are your thoughts on today's list? Tell us in the comments section below. Also, don't forget to give us a thumbs up, share this video with your mates, and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. We hope you liked it, and we hope to see you again soon.